A quick tutorial to understand the Pokemon trading card game. Pokemon have health points and attacks that deal damage. When a Pokemon has no health left, it is knocked out. At the beginning of the game, each player puts out 6 prize cards. When you knock out an opponent's Pokemon, you take one of your prize cards, and when you've taken them all, you win! Pokemon start out as basics like Ralts here, and can evolve as much as twice into a Stage 1 and then a Stage 2 Pokemon. A Pokemon must have been out on the field at its current stage for a turn before it can evolve to the next one. To use an attack, a Pokemon requires the necessary energy cards. If an attack requires a specific type, like Psychic, only Psychic energy will work, but any energy can fulfill a colorless requirement. You can attack once with your active Pokemon every turn, after which your turn ends. You can attach one energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon every turn. Some Pokemon have abilities that allow them to use effects outside of attacking. Trainer cards let you use effects to support your Pokemon. There are 4 major types: items, supporters, stadiums, and tools. Items have minor effects, and as many as you like can be used during your turn. Supporters have major effects, but only one can be used each turn. Stadiums have mutual effects that will affect both players. Only one can be out on the field at a time, and playing a new one will replace the current one. Tools work similarly to item cards, but are attached directly to your Pokemon to give them extra effects, but you cannot attach one to a Pokemon that already has one on. Those are the basics of the game. Today's deck is built around the synergy between Blissey EX and Teal Mask Ogerpon EX. Teal Mask Ogerpon uses its ability Teal Dance to attach a grass energy from your hand to the Ogerpon and drawing a card, and Blissey EX's Happy Switch ability allows you to move a basic energy from one Pokemon to another once per turn. This allows you to power up Blissey very quickly. Blissey EX's attack return does 180 damage for 3 energies, and lets you draw until you have 6 cards in your hand. With the help of Teal Mask Ogerpon, you can start doing this as early as turn 2. Tropius provides a much needed single prize attacker, and Radiant Tsareena gives counterplay against decks that spread out damage, like the new Dragapult, and decks that utilize the new Frostlass. Cheren's Care and Professor Turo's Scenario are here to leverage Blissey EX's high health total to deny prizes. And we're using Maximum Belt as our A-Spec card to help Blissey EX meet certain damage thresholds. With the extra 50 damage, most basic EX Pokemon can be knocked out in one hit. I hope you enjoy the games, and thank you so much for watching. I don't think Blissey is going to get knocked out in one hit, so I'm just going to commit the belt first so I can draw more with the attack. And then this is the point of the deck. So we take the energy off the Ogerpon and move it to the Blissey so the Blissey can attack. And boom. All right, so then this... All right, I get that. Was it a Chansey? It was, so we get to flip. All right, let's go. Yay, we get to take another prize. It's so cheesy. I think it's so funny. A lot of people don't. Okay, let's go. Can we get 2 free prizes? Give me that heads. Give me that heads. Give me... Okay, my look at they're so unhappy. All right, that was awesome. All right, so like a lot of people don't run that Chansey because it's yeah, who do I have to give up? So give up this Chansey. It's only got 110 health, and that's a breakpoint that matters. That means like Cramorant there's a Cramorant that deals 110, so the Cramorant can knock out the Chansey. But I think it's so funny to just like oh, also it also matters because Sableye does 12 and Iron Hands does 120, so like the 130 Chansey escapes all that stuff, but I just think that the ability is too funny not to do. All right, so my opponent is not running the Future Box deck that I thought they were running. They're running like a Iron Valiant one. I really like Iron Thorns is a Pokemon that I really like. So like Tyranitar is, if Tyranitar is Godzilla, then Iron Thorns is Mecha Godzilla, and I think that's really cool. See, if we were running the 130 HP Chansey, it wouldn't have gotten knocked out here. The I don't know that I have a point other than that. I think this Pokemon's cool. Some people run just 4 of these, so its ability is while it's active, Pokemon with a rule box don't have any abilities. And I'm gonna try to find boss's orders here. Neat. So boss's orders lets me pick one of their benched Pokemon and move it into the active position where I can pet it. And that will make it so that I only need 1 more prize to win. Alright. Unfortunately, we don't have any prizes to... So this is the max belt, takes it to 230, so we can knock that out in 1 hit. I didn't get to attach any grass to my Pokemon this turn, which is unfortunate, but I think it'll be fine because we got to cheese this victory. You're not really a fan of the future Paradox Pokemon designs? Unlucky. I like them both. I like them both. I like the future and the past ones. But in particular with Iron Thorns, like as far as like future ones that I like, the one that I'll say that I really like is the Iron Thorns, because I think it's funny to have a Mecha Godzilla for Tyranitar's Godzilla. But so like some people, they run just 4 of these as their only Pokemon, because while it's active, rulebox Pokemon in play don't have any abilities. So rulebox Pokemon are all these ones that are worth 2 prizes. So like here's the Pokemon EX rule here in the bottom of the card, tells you that it's worth 2 prizes. There's some single prize rulebox Pokemon, like all the Radiants say that you can only have 1 of them in your deck. But anything that has like a specific thing, that's a rulebox Pokemon. So he turns off abilities for that. So you can play, if you just play with those as your only Pokemon, if your opponent's deck is reliant on a rule box Pokemon's ability, like Gardevoir EX or Charizard EX, stuff like that, they can never use it the whole game. Rule box, I thought you were saying Roblox. What's the penalty for drawing your entire deck? It's if you would draw a card at the beginning of your turn and there's nothing to draw, you lose. Each card, every card. What about that 1 card 5 years ago? Huh? Oh, my poor Blissey. Oh, they gusted this up. I was like, where did my energy go? Are there even any boss's orders left in my deck? Not that I could find them now. There are not. So I'm gonna go ahead and shuffle 2 of those in. Pal Pad is an item that lets me shuffle 2 supporters into my deck. And so boss's orders lets me bring something up. I'd like to bring something up if they have something that I can't knock out active. Except that they do have something I can knock out active. All right, I've been BMing my opponent apparently. But yeah, so Cheren's Care lets me return a damaged colorless Pokemon to my hand. So that got our Blissey that couldn't attack out of the active, so that our Blissey that can attack can get up and attack. Pretty good opening hand. I'll take it. We have a Chansey to evolve into our Blissey. We have the Ogerpon to start powering up energies, and we have Earthen Vessel to go find 2 of them. So we know that we can attach and use the Ogerpon's ability this turn. I'm going to discard this Ultra Ball because I already have a Blissey, and I don't want to be discarding that many cards from my hand. Now I have to wonder if I, like, okay, so the reason to attach to the Chansey over using the extra Ogerpon is no longer relevant because we drew this. But the reason to do it would have been so that we're set up to be able to use the attack next turn. Because I do need to attach to Chansey this turn in order for that to happen. I think I want both of these, so I think I'm going to discard this grass and get 2 grass. So that's still enough to use all of them. All right, Chansey online. Tails. All right, so this the deck my opponent's playing is based around Arceus V-Star and the Armarouge that this evolves into. The Armarouge, its ability lets you take fire from your bench and move them to the active as often as you like during your turn. Arceus V's attack, it's the V star that they evolve into, is the attack you want to use, but the basic one has a worse version of it. You search your deck for up to 3 basic energies and attach them to your Pokemon V in any way you like. So you get an Arceus active, you use it to put energy on a benched Arceus, and then I guess I'm gonna... They didn't use a Sporter, right? Alright. Their hand stinks. Or it's so good that they can't justify getting rid of it. Because if they have an Arceus V-Star in their hand, I can imagine them not using a supporter just to keep it there. Anyways, I did get another energy. It's a shame I didn't get enough to use more Ogerpons. But anyways, so I'm gonna use the Happy Switch to move a grass over so it can attack. That's the point of our deck here. And then I'm wondering if I can't get some of these cards out of my hand for the purposes of drawing more cards. I don't think I want to throw away my Super Rod. Yeah. So anyways, return allows us to draw until we have 6 in hand, and so we get to draw 1 here. The Arceus will use its attack to get fire energy onto a benched Arceus, and then the Armarouge allows you to power up whatever with those fire energies. Using the Arceus's attack, you can only put it on Pokemon V. So this is an Arceus V. Yeah, here's the Armarouge. So as often as you like during your turn, you may move a fire energy from one of your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. Normally, you couldn't use Arceus V's Star's attack to put energies on like Armarouge, for example. But because you're first using it to put the energies on a V, and then using the Armarouge to move them active, you can basically power up anything with the Arceus V Star's attack. So they use stuff like this Mew, choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack. So you can power up this with that. They have like a... what's the Entei called? The ancient Entei? I forget what it's called, but it has for 2 fire and a colorless, I think, deals 260, so you can power that up. There's an Armarouge EX that I think does more damage based on the amount of fire that are on it. Roaring Flame, that sounds right. This guy doesn't really get powered up by the Arceus Armarouge combo. So this attack does 70 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. There's a stadium that allows you to attach a fire energy to one of your benched fire Pokemon once per turn, and then it deals 2 damage to that Pokemon. So you can use that to power up this, and each time you do that, it will gain 140 damage for this attack. Is this client good? I like it. Gouging Fire? Yes, Gouging Fire, thank you. Which one is Roaring Flame? Is that even, like, did you just, like, reach? Is that even a Pokemon? But yeah, this client's all right. It could be better, but it's all right. Okay, well, I would like to Cheren's Care my Blissey. Can we get one? Nope. Nope, we can't. So... Cheren's Care and a bunch of balls. All right, we don't need those balls. Let me see if I can't find a Cheren's Care, because that would just be delightful. That would be perfect. Unlucky. If I find... I was thinking if I find the... Could I retreat this now? Seems brutal, but I think I could do it. So I have 3 Blissey, right? Like, I could retreat this. This is really stupid, but I guess I'm gonna do it. So because I have 3 Blissey out, I can actually retreat for a new one and still switch all of the energies over. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to Cheren's Care the Blissey back to my hand and send up a new one. No! Oh! All right, well, I suck. It was all not worth it. I want to shame concede. Terrible. Terrible. I guess I won't like even want to just move that off. Like it doesn't do any good up there. Absolute disaster. You don't think it's a Pokemon? You were just shooting. Roaring Flame could have been so there's Roaring Moon. There isn't a flame one, right? I don't think so. Anyways, if I hadn't been a klutz, I could have attacked with this Blissey this turn. So now we're just kind of behind. I don't know what I'm gonna have to do to claw back on this one. You can see they're setting up the Radiant Heatran there. Next turn they can do 280 with it, which is not super relevant. And I have Turo now. And since my active Pokemon doesn't have any energies on it, there's like very little downside to me just like scooping that back up. This one does 40 more damage for each fire energy attached to this Pokemon. So they need 7. 7 is 280 plus the base 40 is 320. And if I had the defensive thing, it would help. Here's the roaring flame. Gouging fire. This cannot one-shot a Blissey next turn. So actually, like, I don't know why we attach energy to it. I guess they can always shoot it up, so that's fine. I really want to boss that and knock it out with an Ogerpon, but I guess that's not happening. Anyways, so I'll bounce my Blissey here. Send up this Blissey. I have more Blisseys than I have energies, so there's no real reason not to just go for this. I should have used the Blissey's attack before I bounced it even still. So yeah, perfect play from me as usual. As usual. And we have plenty of energies in the discard pile, so let's go ahead and shuffle some of those back in. Very good. And we'll use this to move an energy from my friend here to the active. Start very slowly healing this Blissey over the course of 10,000 years. For all that it matters. And yeah. Alright. We're stabilizing. There's a magic card subtitled called Roaring Flame, apparently. Oh, well, very good. Hello, Marshy chat. Are we playing the TCG version of Skarm Bliss? What is Skarm Bliss? Is that like is that a strategy in VGC? I absolutely cannot wait to knock that thing out. Actually, okay, so what they're gonna do is they're gonna come up with this Armarouge and knock out my Blissey. But then they're gonna lose all of those energies because I'm gonna knock them out with the Ogerpon. The Ogerpon does more damage for each energy that's on both the Ogerpon and the opponent's active Pokemon. So if they get enough energy on this to knock out Blissey, then the Ogerpon can knock it out. So they need 7, so they're still gonna have plenty of energy left over. Maybe not plenty, but enough. Right, they needed 1 more for the item. Okay, I was like, wait, why did they do that? But yeah, that's pretty good, actually. That's pretty good. I like this spot. I like this spot. Skarmory and Blissey made a really good defensive core during Gens 4 and 5. Oh yeah, because Skarmory is very physically defensive and Blissey is special defensive. Right? Okay, what I would really like here, more than anything, is an Iono. Oh, good. 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 Alright, so I am going to go ahead and try to get rid of this magma basin. They run several of them, so like they could still attack with the Heatran next turn. I'm going to attach to that. Then we'll Iono, which I feel pretty good about. I think I only have 1 more Blissey in my deck, so I guess I'm not going to worry about stuff. This is infinite damage, right? Yeah, not infinite, but enough. just in case I have to attack with that next turn. Is this game as complicated as it looks? No, once you get the basic rules down, it's just like any other card game where you just kind of have to know the meta. Just got here. Why is chat talking about the premier defensive core of Advanced OU Skarnbliss, which can fit on most teams and part of the incredibly strong and consistent Big Five team? Nobody knows. I was asked if this was the equivalent of that for the TCG. This game is all about knowing every card in your deck because they are all at your fingertips with the tutor abilities. How does that conflict with what I said? At least with the Hearthstone, you only need to worry about the cards in your hand. I think it helps Hearthstone a lot to know the cards in your deck, actually. I disagree with with just about everything you said. I think the shred of truth to what you said there is just that this card game is a little different in that you're playing with your deck more than you're playing specifically with just your hand. But I don't think that makes it more complicated. I don't think it makes it more complicated than other TCGs. I think Hearthstone is by design less complicated than other TCGs. So I guess it depends on the context of the person who asked. Anyways. Let's go get that Blissey. Oh, I must be running 4 Blissey then. Perfect. Perfect. What I'd love to do is Turo, but I believe my only Turo is gone, right? So I'd have to shuffle it back in. I'm pleased and surprised that they couldn't knock out this Ogerpon. I guess it makes sense though. It would have had to have another energy. Neat. All right. Well, I will scoop that up. Send up this Blissey. Use this Tsareena. I guess we'll start powering up this Ogerpon. Ooh, Max Belt. Max Belt is good. It would allow a Blissey to kill that. Is this knocking out whatever no matter what? I think so. So I guess I'll just put that there. I probably should have just benched the Ogerpons actually. Because like none of these aren't there aren't any more liabilities than the others. I guess if I only have one out, they can only get 2 prizes off of one of them. But I don't think they're going to run into that issue here. How does this Blissey deck rank in the meta? It's an off-meta fine deck. There are too many cards that can deal as much damage as you need them to for a deck like this to be amazing. Because against a deck like Raging Bolt or Chen Pao or something like that, they just knock you out in one hit. But against a deck like this, they can't do that as reliably. You get to deny prizes. All right, we mulled. Unlucky. Opponent's gonna get at least 1 extra card, and we can just deal with it. We can just accept it. Starting with Ogerpon, not as good as starting with Blissey, but we are going second, so we're gonna get to use a supporter. Oh, not the stupid Pidgeot deck. I hate this deck. No, leave me alone. Leave me alone. So this Rotom is good for lots of decks that want to set up. A, because it gives you something to do on your first turn. So its ability is once during your turn, you draw 3 cards. If you use this ability, your turn ends. So if you're not going to attack, that's a pretty good ability. But also, it's just a V to have in your deck. So if you Force Sealstone it, you get to use a V-Star ability. The V-Star ability attached to the Force Sealstone is just that you get to search your deck for any 1 card. So it's basically 1 card for search your deck for any card, which is really good. So anyways, a lot of setup decks run the Rotom for that reason. So like you can use it on your first turn and it gives you access to a V-Star ability that you otherwise wouldn't have. This one does a lot of not attacking. So you'll actually use the Rotom. Oftentimes you'll use it throughout the game several times. It's just very passive. Big bird deck, what's it do? It waits to run me out of resources until I can't do anything. And then it patiently waits until I deck out naturally. They do have one card that kind of accelerates the decking out, but it's like, by the time you start using that, you've basically already won. I think the only reason they even run it is for the mirror, if I understand correctly. And I'm not 100% sure I do. I really need to like make an effort to play this deck and understand it, to be able to play against it better. Because like you just, if you're like me and you just don't understand this deck, the ins and out of it very well, it just cleans up. You get to a point where you can't even do anything. What is their deck called? It's Pidgeot Control is what it's called. It's Pidgeot Make Me Uninstall. So we don't have any items in our hand for our opponent to steal from us, which is pretty good. So it's you look at your opponent's hand and you discard a trainer card you find. So we only had Pokemon and energy, so we were fine. What are the odds I can knock that out in one hit? I'm currently doing, is 180? Yeah. I can get 2 more energy on that, so that's not happening. Alright. What's unfortunate here is I have a trainer card that I would like to use. Like, this is valuable in this matchup because they try to like boss up Pokemon that can't do anything and leave them there to buy themselves a bunch of time. So being able to return that Pokemon to my hand is helpful. Oh, now they have options. It's brutal. I think the Turo is more useful than the Cheren. What's going to be really nice is if we find a loss remover somehow, we can just remove this. They're getting 100 extra HP from the Hero's Cape. So if I can remove the Hero's Cape, it'll just get knocked out. Quite unlike Hearthstone does it, but it makes sense given the damage is applied in counters. Yeah, so like, I think Hearthstone is actually the unique one. Like most other card games will have damage. So if you place 3 damage on a magic card and then reduce like an aura, it'll go down too. But yeah, that is different from Hearthstone. Oh, interesting. I was expecting them to save this somehow. If they get rid of the Cheren's Care, I'll be pleased. Neat. This is much more valuable to me. Except that now I'm probably going to toss it, right? Alright, if I can find a Lost Remover, that's better than this Turo. If I can find an energy, then I can retreat this and attack with the Blissey, in which case I'll have cards again. So I think it's just get rid of the Turo. Oh, we found the Lost Remover. Woo! I think I need that. I don't know why I would. Anyways, we'll get rid of this Hero's Cape. And Lux will go down. We get our 2 prizes. And then they send up Wet. Alright, that was a 3 prize turn. It's too bad none of our Chansey were prized for the bonus prizes. So we need to knock out one more big thing. One more 2-prizer. Which is going to be tough unless they knock out Blissey somehow. Luxray, more like Lux, get out of here? I agree. Got him indeed. So my friend here, the Radiant Charizard, is 5 for 250, which is a lot, but the cost is reduced for each prize card I've taken. Do they have a double turbo? Okay, that's enough, right? So yeah, because it only costs 2 now. All right, so Ogerpon goes down, which means there will be no knocking out of the Rotom in one hit, which is unfortunate. I also can't knock out the Radiant Charizard in one hit, with this Blissey at least. No, this was a bad play, right? 5, 6, this can only deal 180. So yeah, like, this has the potential to be able to knock out that overall, but 4 for 120, then 60, 180, yeah. So that was never happening. So guess I'll do this. 3 grass prize. We need to find a grass, or else I've fumbled this game beyond repair. I only run the Lost Remover, so like I have to knock this out in 2 hits, unfortunately. Just gonna try to get as much as I can out of this before we go hunting. All right, can we get 1 grass energy, please? Please. Thank you. All right. I guess ideally we'll like, I think we still have our Pal Pad, right? So we should be able to Turo the Ogerpon at some point. Yeah, unless like they use area or something to discard this here. I just want a game where I had 15 cards in hand, 0 in deck, and my opponent had 30 cards in deck but 3 in hand. I almost lost because of a Mimikyu. Oh, did you take your last prize that turn? The one where you had 0 cards in deck? Unlucky, but also completely expected. So they're just gonna like keep doing stuff like that until I can't take any prizes. How many of my bosses have already been played? None. So I wonder if it's ever worth it to try to hit this bird twice. If you have more prize cards remaining in your opponent, this takes 40 less. So I deal 140 to it with a Blissey, so I can 2-shot it. What's my Iono situation? 2 in the... oh, very good. Very good that we have 1. If I'm going to use this Pal Pad, I should use it now. So that would be to get a Turo back and a Iono, I guess. Because I'm not going to boss this turn because the Pidgeot's already active. So what I like about this is it puts my opponent in a position to where they need to either leave their Pidgeot up or they need to bounce it this turn without having another Pidgeot ready to go for that same turn. So yeah. I'll get the Turo back. I'll get the Iono back. If I leave items in my hand, they can Airy me and it'll discard my items without them even having to do something like Luxray. I'll use the Iono. One of the nice things about what's going on here is they can't run me out of cards in hand because my attacker draws cards. So as long as they like... And the fact that you can move the energies around with the Blissey makes it hard for them to get someone up that would just be sitting there as a dead duck, like unable to attack. Oof. I wonder if they have anything that can knock me out in one hit. I'm so sad that we don't have the and by me I mean a Blissey. I knew we were gonna lose the Ogerpon there. Boss? That's not a boss. Alright, I don't want that anymore. I don't know if this deck actually runs it, but there's a supporter that looks at your opponent's hand and you can choose a basic Pokemon from there, put it on the bench and bring it active. And so I wanted to get rid of the Ogerpon so that couldn't happen to it. The item that can get stuff out of your opponent's discard pile and put it on their bench rotated. So in order to do it out of the discard pile, you have to run a Pokemon that can, like, there's a Pokemon with an attack that does that. But generally, anything I have in the discard pile is safe from being a liability. So discarding Ogerpons at this point in the game is valuable, because if they end up in my hands, I'm in trouble. How much HP will Blissey have in 2050? It's unknown. Probably like, I don't know, 570 or something. So this is really annoying. How many more times in a row are they going to do that to me? Wait, they just went with instant charge? Interesting. Okay. That's pretty cool. So I actually get to... Right, because I've only taken 3 prizes. They needed 2 energy in order to hit with the Charizard. Okay. Sick. So let me get rid of as much of this as possible. Yeah. Gotcha. That's pretty good, especially if we can find the Iono I put back into the deck. Blissey has 714 HP in the video games. That's the ceiling. Ah, fair enough. This song is so weird because there's a Finnish song that uses this exact whistle sample. Interesting. Okay, I do have the Cheren's Care, so I can bounce the Blissey. At which point, do I play down the Chansey? Don't know. I think what I really want to do is Iono them. Unless they're about to do that to me, in which case, great. Playing the Lumineon there seems a little risky. I wonder what their plan is. Because I can actually knock that out. Like, I just boss that up and I win. Oh, Ursaluna. But the Ursaluna can't even knock me out. Oh, okay. Stupid bravery charm. Okay. Alright, we'll get back to Blissey, send up this other Blissey. The fact that they don't have the Pidgeot's giving me hope. So I feel like it's going to be hard for them to keep setting up their Pokemon to attack. Oh, the Radiant Charizard only needs 1 energy now. But how many more times can they bounce it? They're like out of resources, right? I feel like they're pretty limited with their Pidgeot gone. Yeah, they agree. When I set out to make this video, I did it with a goal of talking about every single card in play like my viewers hadn't been watching the game prior. A mission that ended up being a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. By the time I got to the games that I used for this video, a lot of that practice had fallen off and I had reverted back to mostly focusing on chat interaction, which as a streamer, I think is a pretty good instinct and is also why I enjoy doing this. But when you're trying to get your audience to learn a new game, it's a bit counterproductive. Pokemon is also a lot harder to talk over than Hearthstone is. In Hearthstone, each turn has a set amount of time. So in addition to being able to pass my turn and talk through that whole amount of time, I also know that I have a certain amount that I can spend just talking to chat on my turn before I have to actually do anything. In Pokemon, you don't have a set amount of time on your turn. You have an amount of grace period after each action. So it's a lot harder to just take a second, finish what you were talking about with chat, and then take your turn during the second half of the time period like I do with Hearthstone. I'm actually having a lot of fun with Pokemon right now. I always do, but while I was editing this video, it made me want to stop editing and play the game I was looking at, which is something I haven't really been experiencing lately while playing Hearthstone. So I'd love to be able to post some Pokemon videos more often, but for me to be able to do that, I need to make it so that you guys can actually watch this and know what's going on. So what I may try to do is quote unquote stream, but not actually go live, and just spend all the time I would normally spend looking at chat and talking, looking at the cards being played and talking about those cards to nobody. And then see if I can develop a habit with that off stream and make a video out of it. So anyways, thank you for watching my Pokemon video, those of you who did and made it all the way to this point in the video to hear me talk about this. A special shout out to Guapo Pescado for actively trying to learn the game in my chat and asking me a bunch of Pokemon related questions that helped keep me on track. And also everyone in my normal Hearthstone audience who indulged me both in this video and also stuck around for hours before the stream that led to it. I really appreciate all of you allowing me to step out of my comfort zone a little bit.